Well, hello, welcome to another Spatial-Next talk. This one is going to be short, and I'm actually going to do a quick demo for you of something I discovered on the web just recently. I shared with you that I went to Palm Springs and spent a very enjoyable week with Esri, looking particularly at the 3D and real-time technology that's evolved within the ArcGIS world. But this demo I'm going to show you has blown me away. I can't believe how incredible actually ArcGIS now handles 3D data over the web. So I'll just give a quick introduction about a little bit about what we're going to look at, and then I'll show you this demo, which again I am just really surprised, really pleased to see, because it's phenomenal. So let's jump in. Okay, so I wanted to make this a brief video, as I mentioned, but I wanted to provide just a small bit of context on what I'm about to show you. So I cut my teeth in GIS back in the mid-90s when I did a graduate degree, and I actually wrote a web GIS application back at that time, which was pretty early actually into the whole world of web GIS. I actually used Map Objects IMS, anyone from Esri that remembers that. It was pretty cool software at the time. So 2D web GIS, I spent quite a bit of time in my early career developing ArcIMS applications for the web. And anyone that remembers that, the experience was not a great experience, because every time you zoomed or panned the map, it flashed and a new image appeared. So you only viewed one image at a time in the viewer. So it was early technology, but that was the kind of the experience one had at that time. In the mid-90s, and Esri didn't create this, I first saw it with Google, but I think it came from, I don't know actually who created it. It might be those guys in Germany. That's the controversial group. Forgetting the name of the map, but the technology. But there's suggestions that the Google Maps was stolen from these guys in Germany. Anyway, you can look that up. What we found was the really great web GIS or mapping experience was through Slippy Maps. And Slippy Maps were essentially blocks of pictures that were presented to the user. So every time you panned, a new picture appeared. So unlike with IMS, which was a single picture, when you actually used maps on the web today, you actually see a series of images as you pan around. So it's a much more, it's a better experience, and they're called Slippy Maps. So how does Slippy Maps work? I'm not going to go into the details here, but it's called pyramiding. So if you actually move across the map, you see multiple images that are sort of, positioned together. You also, when you zoom in, you actually have got this system. If you actually open up a file that makes up this pyramiding, it's actually a series of pictures in more detail. So when you're further out, it's less detail. As you zoom in, you're essentially dropping into a bunch of new images, which are of much higher detail at these different levels. So you can actually open up what is a zip file that makes up these pyramid systems and see essentially single JPEGs, I think they're JPEGs, of images at various levels of detail. I won't go into any more than that, but that makes the whole experience of Web 2 really a wonderful user experience. So why do I mention that? I mention that because every time I've worked with 3D on the web, it's not been a very good experience. And I'm talking, well, I've had experience with proprietary systems, and it's been not a seamless experience. The rendering of the 3D objects is slow. The whole interaction of moving around and zooming in and flipping, etc., is problematic as well. So I've never really found 3D on the web to be super compelling. What I'm about to show you actually is Esri's i3S spec. So it's this index 3D scene layer that Esri have introduced. And I think this is the best experience that I've seen from a 3D web GIS viewer. So let me not go into any more depth than that. I mentioned pyramiding before because something in this spec is allowing us to get this seamless pan and zoom experience. So, and I'll show that right now. So let's jump across to the demo. Here's the demo. So I've got a browser behind me here, and as you can see, we're not working with a massive amount of data. Like, this is not city data. It looks like some sort of water plant. But and I will note that I have actually been working in this. So some of the data I'm going to show you has been cached, so it's going to render quicker. But it is amazing how detailed this is and how easy it is to maneuver. So let's just zoom in in close here, and we can see the level of detail in here. We can see things on the ground. There's marks there. I'm just amazed by the level of detail. There's cracks there. We can see these steps. Again, more markings on the ground. We can go even deeper. You can actually see really quite detailed pieces of these pipes. There's things on the ground like that piece of whatever that is. It looks like a pipe of some kind or a string. I mean, the level again is amazing. And maneuvering, I'm just using my mouse. It's really easy to do. I find it a bit easier to work with 3D when I'm using my fingers on a touch screen. But this is really something. This is the best 3D experience that I've seen. And working with a partner and friend of mine, Miles Sutherland, who's doing data collection, he tells me, and I'll read this. This is actually done with a P1 camera, and it's an RTK matrix, so it doesn't mean a huge amount to me, but it's drone-based data using certain technology. He's got a certain approach using actually just panoramic camera is what he's using, so still imagery that can be converted into 3D scenes like this, which is amazing. And he tells me that he can actually produce more accurate data than this, more detailed data than this. So I'm really excited to see what that actually looks like in reality and when he's got that data. But I wanted to show this because I think this is absolutely amazing, and it's the best 3D web experience that I've had so far. And again, this is using Esri technology. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll do another talk in the near future. But thanks for watching this one. Thanks for joining us on the Spatial-Next channel. We're focused here on understanding the future of geospatial. That's both how we get to mainstream adoption of the technology and data, and how we start using blockchain and crypto to move things forward. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.